Still checking if the place still cold. Moving in the way, no place, no snow. Straight chilling with my niggas and shiver. Thinking about South Lake.
Keep an eye on this X-Borg. Burmese Ghoul, they gave the X-Borg away in the previous series and they were able to smash that particular hero hard as they could, and that is a sign that teams are starting to find ways, starting to find the cracks in what seems like an impenetrable hero that is on the S tier list right now. And speaking of that, Grok got through again. We've seen Grok yesterday, first first 3 series, got Grok constantly banned now, but suddenly VFM, RRQ started to find ways to deal with this tank, and now other teams are picking up. Guess what? We'll let Grok through. We have other priorities to focus on, and that is what is happening right now.
That's right. There's always that trump card that you really want to get by. And now we're looking at 2 solid picks for the side of Team Gosu here, with Esmeralda as well as the Kaja. Then one fun fact is that one of the members of Notorious Villains are currently coaching for Team Gosu as well. So you see them, of course, getting that sort of a amplification in terms of drafting. Well, I'm really hoping that they do get the best out of this. Now, Axis Esports here will pick up their signature Lunox for the side of Rin, and I'm really hoping to see Axis pull off some of their signature picks coming into play, such as the Helkert. But, you know, Helkert, you don't really have to pick it in the first phase, and that will definitely reveal the whole strategy going in towards this entire sort of run. But of course, Masha seems to be a pretty consistent pick that has been picked up by most of these teams, and we've seen so many Mashas going with those annoying split pushes, and it's so hard to even take her down.
Yeah, but Burmese Ghouls proved that Masha was not an issue. At least if Axis Esports pick her up. Last year has been playing Masha in 2 games. It did not work out at all. Hopefully 3 times a charm. Rin as well, like you mentioned, the signature Lunox, he has been putting so much effort, and it would be a shame for Team Gosu to just find another loophole to get by this power pick that Axis Esports relies so much on. And with the Lolita pick, maybe it is Team Gosu's answer to what Axis Esports is trying to do.
Yes, I'm really liking the early pick for Lolita. We've seen so many of that phase 2 pick or ban heading in towards Lolita, so why not force that one out before even getting into its phase number 2, as we are already seeing Kimi getting taken out. Well, I'm not really all too huge of a fan with this Kimi ban right here, because there's still so many other A-list marksmen still on the table. We got the Granger, we got the Claude, who still comes by every now and then, and of course, Gosu here could even opt to actually take down one more fighter. Well, not really exactly a fighter, just to correct myself right there. Maybe if they really want to ban, the Valor might be a good choice as well, because from the side of Axis Esports, they are still looking for a little bit more of that firepower.
Yeah, and Axis Esports, I believe they also did pick the carry in the previous game. Granger still on the table, like you mentioned, and you are Team Gosu. I was about to bring out the Archive. Archive was a pick that, while we were watching the previous series, we were hoping that Axis Esports will pick that up in game number 1, where they only had this Lolita as that front line. Team Gosu, they're going to deny this double tank because the rest of the priority tanks, Hylos and Kufra, have been taken out as well. So smart move from Team Gosu. But I also want to point out, Team Gosu during their qualifiers towards M1, they have some interesting picks when during the Shanghai qualifiers, where they have Estes, a hero that we just don't see almost anywhere. But today they're gonna go with the textbook play, and carry will be their choice.
I do like the answers coming from the side of Team Gosu right here. They needed something that's really reliable to shred out some of these tanks, and what better way than to pick up the carry? All you have to do is get the Demon Hunter Sword, and you will get a little bit more of that power spike, or even the Golden Staff as well. But Franco is something that we haven't really seen all too much of inside of the M1, but in the MPL MYSG, this is one popular pick heading in towards that playoff round. So Axis Esports is taking double or nothing, and now they're locking in the Franco right here and hoping to connect those hoops.
Yeah, and this is the all-in, I could say the all-in for Axis Esports. On paper, it seems like it's going to work out pretty well, and it is. The theory crafting for Axis Esports does seem more robust compared to the first series. Team Gosu right now, if you're looking at this Franco, you kind of know that Kaja might not find an easy way to just go and flicker Divine Judgment because of the presence of this Franco. So he has a big task if you are the Malaysian team. But Team Gosu, the Tamos is a really obvious choice. We've seen Leomord being picked up only by VFM yesterday as a stable, neutral fighter, but the general consensus is Damos is still the more popular pick.
Well, I definitely would agree with that. The Lavender has been really consistent, and the win ratios are pretty good as well, as we are looking at the stats of Tavis. And for Axis Esports right here, of course, great pickoff potential in the early bouts, but heading in towards the late game here, I'm looking at Gosu, and I'm liking how secure the mid and late game is for the North American team. Now, of course, Team Gosu here, being here in the M1, they're looking to prove a statement. Same goes to Axis Esports. So now we're heading in towards our very first game between these two talents. Of course, love the flags as well, pretty much similar in colors in that sort of sense. But for Axis Esports here, they really got to pick themselves up. I felt like that 2-0 sweep that just happened against Burmese Goals, it was a little bit of that sort of a passiveness coming from the Axis Esports side, which I felt was not really that sort of a signature play style that they were in. So perhaps they should be pretty much well relaxed to be confident to play their own game.
Yeah, and the skills will kind of tip as well. Malaysia, the locals would mostly agree that Axis Esports, just like most of the Malaysian teams, are the aggressors. They like to play aggressively, but we've seen Game 1 slightly greedy against Burmese Goals with the single tank 2 fighter. Didn't work out. Game 2, same as well. But the game is ready though, so we'll see if Axis Esports can turn this around and flip the script and take on Team Gosu in the second series.
Gosu, the American Dragons here, are slowly marching in towards the lanes. And of course, get yourself that M1 ticket. Here's a little bit of that promo code that you can copy down if you have not. Make your purchase. And now we're looking at Ken Ray here, already tossing out the wheel, and Breezy, oh my goodness, already dropping down to 50%. So a rough start for the side of Gosu right here, but shouldn't be too much of a hassle for Team Gosu to come back into play. So Basic Simply is supported by the Kaya, and they're looking to make sure that Breezy gets that level 4 in hand so that they can go in for that flicker and Divine Judgment.
Yeah, and Team Gosu right now is going to go for the standard, and I like the early invade coming in from the USA team, and Evo is the only one who tries to go for the protection on that buff, and he actually took it away, so managing to slow down the tempo from Team Gosu is a good start for Axis Esports.
That's definitely a huge signal for the side of Axis to actually march forward as well. Axis Esports will also try to take down this road cap without any sort of contest at all. So we're looking at all these other members on over the top side here, pressuring over the side of Lasted as well. So Lasted here will just have to hold on for dear life for the time being. But Kenry shouldn't be too much of that sort of problem for him to actually hug by the corners of the tower of the bot lane.
Yeah, and Axis Esports taking a page out of what Burmese Goose did in the first series against them. In under a minute and a half, Burmese Goose were able to take that top tier 1, rendering this Marsha ineffective. And right now what Axis Esports trying to do is to take that bottom tier 1, but now Team Gosu, they're gonna jump the gun right now. Lasted does not have that level 4. General, though, pumping the damage with the wheel, not able to get the kill off. Meanwhile, Team Gosu takes that tier 1 bot, and this is what... Axis Esports takes that tier 1 bot, and this is what they want. Now you free up the map for Lasted to be a bit more effective.
Wow, Flicker coming out from the side of Breezy as well, and this is going to be that turtle going on slight reset as we are looking at a full Flicker team from the side of Axis. Well, way too quick for me to see what's on the line for the side of Gosu, but for Gosu, they're just making sure that they stay safe for the time being. And now Axis Esports already attempting the very first turtle of the game.
Yeah, definitely a bit more composed recovery. They were not letting game 1, series 1, get to them. So Team Gosu, they're going to lose that turtle. The fact that they were not able to steal the buff early on, they lost the turtle, they lost the tier 1 bot. Axis Esports, with that slight economy advantage, can look to push this, and you can see 4 members from the Malaysian team, they are already congregating on the top side of the map. They want to take the top tier 1 just so this Marsha can actually function, not to go in with the ultimate onto Paulo. Great wild shot. Paulo is blocked by the wall, so they will get the first blood, and that will go over to Axis Esports.
What a great setup coming in from that Grok. Look at that wall charge ramming onto 2, and that wall to negate the escape. And now Axis Esports can take more than just that. They've already got the turtle, they've already got the first blood, and they will also take another tower down from the top side. Well, look at the goal graph here. They're already 2,000 in favor, and Axis Esports are looking to dominate.
Yeah, Lex is looking pretty fine right here because those two side lane tier 1s are taken down. Now this Masha can go anywhere she wants. Like you mentioned, the goal grab in favor of Axis Esports completely. Team Gosu seems like the only aggression that they made was onto Lassie twice. No kills at all, and they're forced into this very conservative playstyle, and that will give Axis Esports the space that they need. They will find Polo once more, and that one will go over too long.
We can see Scott to suppress him right there, and he could not even move a muscle. Now Gosu here already dropping another member. Of course, this is still pretty much early into the game. 4 minutes in, and we're seeing Axis having a great control inside the jungle, and you see there's so much of that pressure going on, and Team Gosu does not really have any sort of response for the time being. And there it goes, one more tower on the top side.
Team Gosu a bit too passive. They are not responding to the sieges from Axis Esports. They are still leaving their side laner, the Thamus, to farm in the bottom lane. Sure, you get the resources, but the rest of the map is jeopardized by Axis Esports, and not really sure what they're gonna do now because the carry seems like it's not able to find the effectiveness that they need. As we mentioned, that carry does go down, but Basic comes in. He wants that revenge. Polo as well with the charge, gonna jump right in, gets the stun onto Scott. Long will flicker away. Breezy gets ambushed and gets taken down by Vin, and this is what you want to see from Axis Esports. The recovery, Polo with a limited blast, but cancelled by Scott. He hooks him away, and then will give Ranger the killing spree. Basic now will try to salvage everything, to dump in with the Stardust 4, and we'll find that the shutdown onto the Ranger, but Basic has to get away, and Axis Esports will not let that happen. The killing spree going over to Rin.
Whoa, such a beautiful fight coming from Axis Esports, and look at Scott though. That beautiful hook cancel out the Numenon Blast, and Axis here looking for another turtle, but let's have a look at the replay brought to you by Mew Mobile. With Basic, he went in for a chase, and of course Lung was forced to flicker away, and this is where things get even more interesting. They know that Paulo is channeling ult, and Scott, in that sort of a moment, clutches it off and cancel it in time to save members of Axis Esports, and it was only down to Basic, but Rin still made sure that he gets a kill with that flicker coming out.
Yeah, and even with the falling Star Moon, Esmeralda got the shutdown but was not able to get out, so in the end, the shutdown doesn't really matter too much for Axis Esports because they got more than they came for. Scott, MVP for that. Evo now getting ganged on, but he is the grab pretty tanky. They can use the Divine Judgment on him, but they didn't pull him back, and that means Evo will get away. Scott free, and guess what? Paulo Akenre is caught out again, and it will be this one going over to Evo.
Well, Evil X, of course, already took a lot of that damage, but it was Kenray who fall in that sort of a slight skirmish. But looking at Gosu members, they're slowly getting themselves back on track, though a little bit late though. 6,000 gold still in favor of Axis, and that's going to be the buff being pulled over, and Paulo right now is getting that all challenge performance out of Scott, but no follow-up whatsoever from Axis.
And Rin is coming online on his signature Lunox 3-0-2 long as well. 3-1-2, the two calls from Axis Esports are on a roll, and Team Gosu feels like they are really desperately trying to make something happen. The only kill that they got was Basic onto their shutdown on the Ranger, but now another fight. Paulo immediately caught out. Not even have a chance to use that Numenon Blast, and Team Gosu won't have a chance to defend this tower at all.
I feel like Paulo has been caught out a little bit way too much in this sort of early game fights, and now we're already in 7 minutes of the game, and that possibly shouldn't be the case at all for the side of Team Gosu, but of course they have to let this mid tower fall in that sort of sense, and Axis Esports here can just run free anywhere as they please. And speaking of that, Kenray getting caught out as well.
Yeah, no way out for Kenray. Another kill going over to the core of Axis Esports. Long now 5-1-2. This Granger is absolutely massive. Blatant Dispatch available. They're gonna get the suppress on the Basic, but Team Gosu now, they have the backup. But keep your eyes on Rin. This Lunox is pretty scary. He's still left alone. Basic is in, but the brilliance from Lunox will keep her invulnerable for now. One kill goes over to Paulo, but it seems like Lassie will find Paulo in return. General now isolated from the rest of his team, and it seems like Axis Esports will find a win. 1, 2, 3 are down. Granger on the killing spree, and Axis Esports under 8 minutes will crack the base of Team Gosu.
That was technically a team wipe before Kenray even came back up online. Now, heading back into his ad play, Basic was trying to focus everything upon all these members of Axis, but Flicker coming out from the side of Scott to bait Paulo on towards the other corner instead. And of course, Gosu, all they could possibly do was run away, and they should not even commit towards that fight inside of the jungle, and they have to pay the price with that broken base.
The Malaysian Tigers have seemed to awaken after Series 1. Team goes to Paulo. You talked about how he got caught up multiple times, and in all these scenarios, this Lolita just feels like ineffective all along. And with that being said, Axis Esports, first inhibitor in the middle lane down. Not even 10 minutes in, the Lord will be spawning out pretty soon, and Axis Esports will be eyeing on that objective.
Well, first, we're having the Malaysian Tigers here looking for their very first win. Well, of course, it's so convenient that Team Gosu also has the dragon logo with them, so crossing Tigers with the dragon. Well, of course, jokes aside, now back into the game. With Gosu here with need to stall for a great run. And General here not really having the best of weaponry to actually hit in towards the next battle, because the tanks from inside of Axis Esports has already emerged with so many of that sort of assists as well as goal, and they've already got all that they need to actually soak all those damage. But Scott here just waiting for any passersby, and perhaps one good hook will initiate the fight, and instead he hooks a minion.
Almost found, and that will allow Lassie to have free reign of this Lord. Marsha, one of those heroes that we know can solo this objective. Look at her go. The Lord does not stand a chance, and Lassie will be the new Lord, at least for now. Team Gosu, they have to deal with this onslaught of Axis Esports. The threat of Scott is always there, and it seems like Paulo will be the victim for the 6th time in a row.
Wow, 6. And no assist at all for the side of Paulo. He did get a kill somewhere in between the game, of course, but Team Gosu here, they seem to be having a little bit of that early jitters. Of course, this is, after all, the very first game in the entirety of the tournament, but hoping that Gosu here could make a little bit of that comeback here, as we see Rin here has not even dropped a single time. Same goes to Lasset as well as Evil X and Lung on that Granger pick. He has already played a lot of that Granger back in MPL MYSG, and he's known as one of the best out there for the entirety of the season.
This power from Axis Esports was missing in the series against Burmese Goose, but against Team Gosu, they are unleashing the full power. The Guardian Barrier just come out onto Paulo, and Paulo now, with his Dying Breath, will have to hold this door as Team Gosu desperately need to defend against this potential final siege, and Axis Esports, they're just gonna go for the crystal, and they'll bag their first win.
With the Lord